Welcome to Nachtwaffen Pilot with Penny Bradley. Today we have a returning guest, Arkim Ra, and he's a musician, and he has memories of his catalog of songs from Montauk being taken from him and given to others. And we're going to be talking about that today. And I believe he has a playlist of songs that he remembers writing, and we will add that in the comments when this is uploaded. Welcome, Arking.
Thanks for having me as always, Penny.
Well, sure. There aren't a lot of us in this community who make sense when we talk. You're one of them, so of course.
Well, I hope that you're ready for this one because it's a lot.
You've told me about it, and I was real excited when we talked about it, and then I got sick and had to be reminded of what we were discussing today. Yeah,
Sorry, you got muted for a second. Oddly enough, the Montauk drummer was calling me.
say what?
The Montauk drummer, I got reconnected with him. He was calling me. I wasn't able to pick up the phone.
Ah,
Yeah, somebody in this community sent me his number and then, or no, sent him my way, and then we reconnected, and then we're going back and forth. And it's too bad we couldn't have our conversation before the interview, but maybe maybe I'll have even more information later, and I'll be able to do a whole other one. But he seemed to have a lot of information on this. But anyway, obviously I'm doing my interview with you right now, so I can't pick up my phone.
it's okay. We'll talk about what you remember, and then if you want to have him join you on another show here, we can do that.
That might work. I don't know if he's comfortable talking or not, but he's comfortable talking to me about it, so we'll see.
Now, there are rumors out there that I thought that the folks that were on the round table were the only Montauk folks. This is pure bullshit. Um, there were hundreds of thousands of people who went through Montauk.
Yeah, and that's a good chance. That's a good opportunity for me to mention the fact that I am not the only person that has written songs in these programs and then had them end up in popular culture. Um, a lot of these songs are sort of like the equivalent to like war songs, like almost like the idea of how the Klingons in their honor, and they write they write music. They're musical or something. I don't know how to explain it. That's maybe a terrible example, but like um,
Hero songs.
I'm not the only person. Yeah, hero songs. I'm not the only person who wrote songs, and some of these songs are really obviously hero songs, really obviously about somebody in the programs. Like a really good example would be "Immortality" by Celine Dion. I mean, if you read the lyrics to that song, it's really obvious that a super soldier wrote it. It's very
Yeah,
obvious.
there's a lot of music that I've noticed in well, I listen to heavy metal, obviously from my preliminary song, my my theme there. I listen to heavy metal, and there's a lot of stuff in heavy metal that is space related. Uh, mm, Especially the songs that are
Some of
kind
it,
of wistful.
I've
Uh,
noticed some of it. I've been looking pretty deeply into it, and I've caught some of these metal tunes that have caught my eye, and the music videos make it really obvious. Some of them,
yeah,
it's pretty wild what they put right out there, and people think that they're just being creative and making a cool music
yeah,
video when it's like, no, they're showing you something.
they're
Like
showing you
a good
something for sure.
example of that would be, yeah, like "Larger Than Life" by the Backstreet Boys, which is basically a song that's about how um, giving musicians attention gives them occult power over you. That's like what the whole song's about, and how that makes you larger than life or whatever. There's songs that's the music video for that is very obviously showing imagery that is from space and super soldier suits, stuff like that. And then there's like
Mm,
Katy Perry. She's got a music video. I have it on the Fractal Weapons channel. Well, it's called Disclosure now. Not it changed the name, but it's on that channel, and it shows how it's literally showing her in a Katy Perry in an MK Ultra facility and leaving in like a Monarch butterfly, which is the Monarch programming, and like
mhm.
uh, she meets her Prince Charles and rejects him, which seems to be a rejection of the twin programming. All this weird stuff is just in that music video, and it's endless when you start looking into it. Not to mention the fact that like Jay-Z filmed one of his music videos on Epstein Island. That's literally a fact. People can look it up. Like it
Oh,
gets
God.
dark.
Does it get any more obvious than that?
It gets dark, and I experienced the darkness. It's something that this is going to be really uncomfortable for me to talk about, frankly, some of this stuff because it gets so dark. Because it's not all just Montauk either. But one of my first tunes that the song that made me realize that how big of a deal this was and that I needed to look into it was "You Belong to Me," which it's been covered by all sorts of people. The Duprees did it. It's an old tune that has three people credited to it. Their names don't really matter. I know they didn't write the song. One of the it's literally in the story that one of them is only on the song credits because they provided an outlet for the song to get attention. So it's like really obvious. It was just like a business deal. But that was the first song that made me realize like the scope of it because I've talked in the past about how you know an alternate timeline where I do a James Rink interview and I say that I've been lying the whole time and it's all BS and I did it for my music. I've had that vision and known that happened in other timelines for a long time now, but I didn't realize the scope of like me saying, "Oh, I did it for my music," or whatever. What that meant, like how it makes that much more sense now that I know more. But yeah, "You Belong to Me" would be one of the songs, and then I believe, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with the viewers here. Some of them I'm positive I wrote, but some of them I have just a feeling that I made the songs, and I'm pretty sure I was a part of them due to the research that I made. But I'm not going to say for sure. But "Be My Baby" is kind of a bit mysterious to me because Jeff Barry and Elliot Greenwich and Phil Spector were credited on that song. And there's a lot of other songs that I realized that I wrote, like Teenage Sonata, that are connected to, like that song I know I wrote. Jeff Barry is connected to that song. And his wife, Ellie Greenwich, she didn't take his name. They're connected to all these songs that I have this I can tell that I wrote them. I'd look them up. It's like I'd find songs like, oh, I know I wrote this song, then I'd see Jeff Barry more than once, and I realized there's a pattern going there.
Yeah,
So that's kind of
it's
strange.
important to, it's really important to watch the patterns of who's giving credit for your songs.
Yeah, and an interesting comment on I'm pretty into music history as it is, so I'm looking into it harder now. But I've always known that Phil Spector made a joke when he was talking about the song "Be My Baby." He made a joke that I don't understand how it took the Beach Boys two people to write "Little Deuce Coupe." I mean, come on, he said that, and here he's got a song where it's three people are credited on it. He's literally talking about a song. He's in the midst of talking about a song that three people are credited on. He's talking about how did it take the Beach Boys, two guys, to write this song. I mean, it only takes one person to write a song, is more or less what he was implying. And it's just like, I just found that kind of funny because I agree. What is up with, I mean, I look up these songs and whether or not it's Jeff Barry or Max Martin or whoever, there's always like the more time that has gone on, like the more modern the songs, the more friggin' people they have credited to them. It took like seven. People always joke about how Beyonce has 7, 8 people on her songwriter team. That's just them splitting up the money, people. That's all that is, in a lot of occasions. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there, but yeah, it's interesting too to note that the Montauk drummer he reached out to me today and well yesterday, and we've been talking a little back and forth, and I don't want to say his name or whatever, but maybe he is public. I don't know. I literally just started talking to him. Maybe I could, but I don't want to because I'm not sure. But
Well,
he was just saying
when
that,
you talk to him, let him know that he's welcome to come on with you.
yeah, this is like new information, like literally like just like a couple of hours ago information. He told me that Preston basically exaggerated his role in what he did because he did say he's like apparently I wrote like 100 songs and like he does believe a lot of weird stuff happened with the music industry involving Montauk, but he's basically saying like he doesn't believe for a second that Preston like created the wall of sound, like Phil Spector created the wall of sound and like all the stuff. Like he's just basically said like the guy exaggerated himself, made him look like a hero, which is something that we've already talked about before in the past,
Mhm.
not concerning the music industry, but concerning just like Junior coming along and everything else. He's omitted the fact that he's been a very bad actor in all of this. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that he made himself to be some hero. He probably yelled at us and made us do all the work. He probably didn't have to do any work at all. I just remember the fact that one of my first memories of Montauk was him bringing in like a drum machine, like a synthesizer, and just he brought in this music equipment, and I was pretty happy about it. And I remember because I already had heard how bad of a guy he was. I thought that was kind of questionable, and sure enough, like I had sort of a close relationship to him, which is fucked up. Like I know he's a fucked up guy, but he was a predator that preyed upon me as a child. He groomed me, etc., etc. I shouldn't have to make excuses for it, but just to be clear, like he sucks. I'm not making excuses for him, but I remembered
Um,
that. That was one
I
of the
I
memories
want
I got back.
I want to insert here all of the people who were kidnapped and taken to Montauk are victims, no matter what relationships they developed while they were there or afterwards. We were all victims. And you should not have to be feeling guilty that he had you in Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, which is exactly what it was. It was Stockholm syndrome, and
We were
I,
there
I,
and
I did some
trying to
research.
survive.
I did some research, as far as like I read some of Preston's stuff because I mean I wanted to learn about what happened at Montauk, and he did talk about some of the songs, but he didn't go into detail about how they would steal songs from us. He brought up some particular songs, like a song with like the band Jigsaw, and like just a few songs, and like showed how Mark Hamill was in one of the old sugar pop bands or whatever. Like I
Mhm.
can't just showed all this evidence that there was this weird stuff going on, and it was like bands like the Shangri-Las and stuff. And but I just realized that after looking into it more on myself on my end because of remembering writing "You Belong to Me," um, that's when I started to realize there's way more to it than even what Preston was saying. And they're doing, well, like for instance, like even taking songs from other timelines and stuff like that. And I find it interesting too. Like you know, you don't have to just believe me at face value. I'm just saying there's a lot of coincidences, and then make up your own mind. Like there's a line in that song like, and you belong to me. See the marketplace at old Algiers. It's like who refers to a place I don't know. Maybe sometimes people that particular region for some reason they do that. Maybe I don't know enough about it. That seems weird to me to call a place old Algiers. It seems to me like the song is like that's from a time traveler standpoint, talking to another time traveler. And the song is about how we were separated for lifetimes, but we always end up back together. And there's more than one song that sort of has that same theme that they took from me. In fact, a lot of the songs have a really similar theme. Like a lot of the themes in the Eurodance songs they took from me, which some of them are from by completely different people. It's about like worshiping rhythm and how like rhythm is God, like which our heart beats, the rhythm pulses. Like there's kind of a truth to that in a way. But yeah, sorry if I'm going on. But
You okay?
yeah, I just find it really strange some of the lines in these songs. Like another example of a song that has lines in it that kind of don't really make sense. And I've even watched documentaries about Dennis Pop and Max Martin, where the people that are the music historians that are talking about the song, are like, yeah, these lines they just don't make sense. But the great people love them. It sticks with you or whatever. But I'm like, no, I know why they don't make sense. You know what I mean? And one of them is as long as you love me. He says it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from or what you do as long as you love me. That's like if you're talking about one person, okay, they're only going to be from one. They're only going to. First of all, who they are as a person is fundamentally why you love someone. Second of all, they're going to be from one place. Second of all, they're only going to be one person. Do you understand what I'm
Well,
getting at?
not in these programs, no.
Exactly. It's talking about no matter who you are, no matter what life they're to put us in. If we were with each other, it doesn't matter. As long as you love me, I'm happy. I don't care if they can do whatever the fuck they want, as long as I end up with you. That's what that song's about, and it's from the programs, and I wrote it. I'm sorry, it pisses me off a lot. Like it
I
really
don't
does.
blame you. I get pissed when people steal my videos and don't give me credit. So I can
A lot
understand.
of this is the mind control aspect of it, and that's the reason why they use us and they use highly uh, psionic people is because they put more of a mental impact on the song, like a psychic mental impact on the song, where it will grab the listener more when they make music, and that's why they use our music. And like for example, like they stole my song. Um, it's another Celine Dion one. It's um the one My Heart Will Go On. They used it for Titanic, okay? The whole story behind that song is fishy when you look up the story. Basically, there was a film score for the movie which kind of used that chord progression, and the guy had it in his back pocket that he was writing a song to end the movie with, but James Cameron didn't like the idea or something. That's the story behind it. But out of nowhere, he pulled up this amazing emotional love song that just grabs you at the heart chords and just rips your heart out. But it was all just for a movie. It was all just some manufactured thing that he just slapped together for a movie. Fuck you. That's not how music is made. It's not manufactured in a factory. Real music that grabs you like that takes someone having to fucking feel that feeling. You can't just
Yeah.
make someone feel that feeling because you're some fucking rich asshole that wants to put a powerful song in a movie. That's not how it works. He had money and he fucking somehow got access to the catalog and bought that song, is my theory. That's not his song. I made it. I know what it's about. It's about the fact that I was dreaming about my trauma twin and I knew she was still out there and that she still loved me, and I was seeing where she was and what she was doing and stuff like that. And that's a repeating theme in a lot of these songs that they stole from me. They're about her and they're talking about me seeing her in my dreams and stuff like that. And the love going on beyond no matter what, no matter how far apart we are, no matter where she is, I'm still gonna love her. A lot of these songs, that's what they're all fucking about. They're about the same thing, the same concept. Because you could write a million songs about that. You really could. If you love someone enough, you can write a million songs about how much you love them. It's not hard. And they knew that. They knew that. And I haven't even gotten into the Max Martin Dennis Pop thing deeply yet, because that's a huge part of this. I mean, we can talk about Montauk. That's one part of it, but the people that are putting out the music now, the people that are putting out the music in the mind control music that is from assets, that is from these programs. The main guys are Max Martin and Dennis Pop. And Dennis Pop died in 1998, but he's still out there in the programs. And Max Martin is his protege, the guy he taught everything he knows, and he's alive in the here and now. And he has more number one hits than any single person ever, period. And when you look at the music that he's made, it's all over the map. It's all over the map. It's not one style or anything like that. It's all over the map. And how I found out that he was stealing my music, Max Martin, it's the same thing with the Jeff Barry thing. It was the fact that I kept on looking up songs that I knew I made, and you want to know what NSYNC and Celine Dion have in common? They both have worked with Max Martin. You know, The Weeknd. Some of his songs are mine. Max Martin, like and not only that, I talked to you about how I remember in the last
Mhm.
interview I did with you. I talked about being brought to that studio and that guy being there that spoke with like some sort of European accent, and he showed me how to use the studio in my mind. That was fucking Dennis Pop. I found him on the internet. That was Dennis Pop. Dennis, it was literally him at Chiron Studios in on Centurion Epsilon, Centurion 5. And then there's this Chiron Studios here. They changed the name now, but Chiron. And then the story of Chiron is interesting. Look into the story of that. I'm going to slaughter if I tell it now, but it has to do with a being being produced through rape and their centaur. And I find it interesting that Centaurion 5 and then Chiron. And then the company Chiron is also connected to this strange it seems like they could be totally separate companies, but I don't think they are because they use the same exact imagery and stuff. Chiron is also this financial asset gathering, like basically they find oil, they're oil prospectors, and they're based in Egypt. And I believe that they're using that as a cover for the fact that they're doing these deals with the black market music industry and the clones as well, the clone trade. And the memories that I have with Max Martin and Dennis Pop are pretty fucking hard to talk about, some of them. But I'm going to go right into it because it needs to be talked about. Um,
Okay.
there's this thing that they talk about. The Church of the Holy Ghostwriter. It became a joke when Max Martin got an award by the country of Sweden. This award that I think it's a Polar Award or something like that. They made this joke because he's like, "Oh, you caught me. I'm the guy who wrote all the songs. Like I just wanted to hide in my corner, but you found me." And they made this joke, the Church of the Holy Ghostwriter. It's not a joke, okay? There's this guy you can find on YouTube. His joke is basically like tongue in cheek, like he's making fun of it, sort of. But there's so much truth behind it. Like for instance, there's this hit light. Dennis Pop called it the hit light. And when the hit light was going on, it meant that the red hit light was going on. It meant that we had a hit. But that had to do that was tied to ritual abuse that was going on into another room that they're gathering Lucian energy from the put in the fucking song. They would literally, okay, they had this room and these guys talk about it in interviews. Oh yeah, we would all fight to get in the room so we could be a part of the writing of the song, this tiny little room, right? And it's like that's not what they're doing in the room. That's not what they were doing. They were harming people. They were harming, doing a sexual ritual. I mean, these guys would get fucked up on drugs. They would rape me. They would make me sing a song. They would make me, sing. They would tell me to do that while they're fucking beating the fuck out of me and shit. Where do you think "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" comes from? Sing about how much you like us hitting you. Sing about how much you like it. That's where that fucking comes from. And then they used it as pedophilic mind control. They put it in Britney's music. That poor fucking woman that her dad just sold them fucking off to these fucking guys. Like the things that they did to her. And I would come to the studio every day. I would get brought to that Stockholm studio, and I wouldn't remember these guys. They would pick me up from the cloning facility, and I wouldn't remember them every time. And they got off on it. They thought it was funny. Oh, you don't remember us, little boy who sings. You don't remember us. And then Brittany, she would remember me. She'd be like, "Oh," and she'd think, "You're playing. What are you playing with me? What do you think this is?" She thought I was, and eventually she realized, "You really don't remember me every time, do you?" And when they'd go off and do stuff and party or whatever, she'd hang out and watch me, and she'd play games with me and stuff, and talk to me and tell me stories and shit. I have a deep connection to her. She was like a sister to me, and like I said, the way these assets, these clone fucking assets that they use for the music that they make in this manner, in this ritual manner, the Church of the Holy Ghostwriter, it couldn't be any more obvious. I mean, you look at the cover of NSYNC, their album No Strings Attached, and it's literally them with strings attached to them, showing that they're mind controlled fucking puppets, thrusting it right in your faces, showing you exactly what they are, exactly what the ritual is, exactly what this music is. And all the music, it's ritual, it's mind control, it's a cult, and they use the money. It's black ops money. Black. Where do you think they got all the money to do all of these things? I mean, yes, at Montauk, there were situations where we would literally go into places with a portal and steal all their gold and stuff like that. We did whatever we needed to get money, and the music industry was just one way to do it. And it wasn't It wasn't Preston Nichols being some musical genius that worked with Phil Spector and and they made all these beautiful fucking songs happen. It's the fact that all of us had trauma, we had pain, and they made us all, if we could, play music, and they made us all write songs if we could, and then they used them. That was it was all a part of the black magic ritual shit that they do, because music is the most powerful form of mind control and black magic that they can use out in the open like it's nobody's business. You see some of these music videos that they're putting out, and some of these like NFL you know playoff the weekend that the weekend did that was weird as hell. Rihanna doing it, the same thing, weird symbolism going on, showing what is literally seems to be like the people in the white suits that they have copies of certain people that they keep underground that are in these white suits that they just use literally as like a voodoo doll to control the people above. Like they put it right out in the open. They make music. They made a movie about it. Us, like it's all right in the open. They're showing you it. And yeah, like I said, like the hit light. Think about it. The hit light, this red light going off, and then you think about the red rooms, which is basically what that ritual abuse was. Is just another red room, which is really common. They have these red rooms. They have a red light in them. There's some sort of thing about the red light for some reason. I can't remember what it is. I don't know what it is, but something about the red light and the red rooms. But it has to do also with the fact that most of these red rooms end up covered in blood,
Yeah.
so they're red. Like that's how gory it is. They get, but so yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard for me to deal with these memories because I also have positive memories of Max Martin and Dennis Pop, and I don't know if they have alters, and I don't know how deep they real like I don't know because I have done some terrible things at Montauk too that I was forced to do, and I don't know the whole story with them. It seems to me though like the Stockholm studio and what they had going on was like some sort of weird Swedish cult that they had, and they had a lot of money to throw around so they could buy kids and they could do this ritual stuff. I don't know. It seemed to me like they're Satanists, and that's why they're both from metal bands. Both Dennis Pop and Max Martin used to be in metal bands. Now, a lot of the people in metal community do not understand that Satanism actually is a huge problem and what they're actually doing. They just use the imagery to be cool. But some of these metal bands literally are Satanists. They literally, and I think that was the case with them. And it's not just, it's also um, there's like I said with the Chiron Studios that I've talked about. I think I might have briefly mentioned that's the studio that he brought me to that I got brought to. I woke up there. They told me I was going to go into music, and he just going to hook up my mind to like show me like there's this drug that I had to snort in order to connect with the computer, but then it made me addicted to the drug that only the
Yeah.
studio had the dispenser for, so I couldn't leave the studio because I could only get the drug there. I didn't realize that was half the reason why they did that. I could have probably connected to the studio without the fucking drug because of who I am, but I just got there. You know what I mean? So it was like
Yeah.
remembering everything all over again. And I just remember I remember that, and I remember telling too like another memory that I have that a lot of these memories I used to think they're visions of the future, and because I didn't have the context I do now. And I remember I used to work with this guy, and he's a ghost effects, and he was a ghost writer guy. He doesn't care about being credited on people's music. But like he's worked with me before, and we had like a band for a while, and like we started like a podcast and stuff. But then we had like a falling out. But more or less, anyway, we and him got taken both of us at the same time one
As a
time.
pair,
What's that?
as a unit.
As a unit, yeah, as a pair. And I just remember like we got brought to this planet. We got brought there in some sort of shuttle. We didn't know what the fuck was going on. We were very confused. It was us. It was like me who you're talking to now and normal him. And
Hmm.
Walters. And we were just like we didn't know what the fuck was going on. And they brought us to this weird circular building that it was like a circle on the side of like a mountain or something like that, an elevated spot. Um, and they brought us there, and it was like you could tell there was like a big like cafeteria that you could tell it could be used by tons of people, but it was just me, Ghost, and Dennis and Max. And I remember Ghost went off. He's like, I gotta use the bathroom. And like goes off, and I'm just like, oh okay. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, why are we here? And they're just like, we just wait for your friend to come back. And it was just like this awkward like me staring at them and them staring at me, and I'm just like, who are you guys? And he's like, I'm you know, I'm
Who
just
are
like,
you guys? Yes.
like I'm Dennis, I'm Max. We'll explain everything in a second. Basically, they just told me that we were about to make all this great music and do all this great stuff, and no one would even know about it. No one would even find out about it. So why not sign a deal with them, and they can use their resources because they knew who I am and they've been watching everything that they're paying attention to me or something. I don't know. They're just like, you guys are gonna make all this music, and you might as well just give it to us. And they basically said your music will not be just heard on Earth; it'll be heard all over the galaxy, all over the solar system, all over the place. We're gonna put it wherever it fits, and we basically like just ended up agreeing to whatever we agreed to it, signed some contracts or something like that. I'm pretty sure. And I
How
remember
old
part of it
how old were you then?
in my early, I think I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
But it might have happened later too, because there's two kind of times where I was hanging out with them and making music with them. It might have happened the first time, it might have the second time. All I know is I had this memory, which I thought was a vision of the future, and the memory wasn't initially the round thing and stuff like that. What I remembered is I told them, oh yeah, there's these two European dudes that we meet, and like I don't know where we're somewhere, probably
You froze.
in Europe or something. It's beautiful, and there's like water, and like they're in inner tube. Where do I? Well, basically, I told my friend that I had the vision of these two European guys trying making like a record deal with us and hanging out with them somewhere in Europe. And I realize now it was Max Martin and Dennis Pop, and that it probably wasn't a vision. It's probably something that happened like the night earlier or whatever, or it already happened, right? And yeah, it just took me a long time to put it all together. Like I said, like okay, Dennis, Max, they worked together to take all these songs, and and yeah, the ritual abuse part is hard. There's a song too. There's a memory I have with because it's weird. It's just like I have fond memories with them too. I have memories of them like being good people, and then I also have memories of them being like really fucked up. So it's confusing, and all I have to say is everyone should.
Altars altars would altars would explain that. But
Yeah, and
how would they shift from one to the other like that?
because I know that Dennis's son thinks that Dennis is dead, which I mean I don't know if because of time travel technically he is dead, and that is true. Like it's confusing, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I mean I know that there's even people close to the. I doubt the people closest to him, even a lot of them knew that this stuff was going on. But and like I said, it's just confusing. But also when you see all the mind control in the music and how like okay, people talk about and this is the viewer can just have a little fun time on YouTube with this, right? If they want. If you look up some of the songs that he wrote that he worked on people with like Katy Perry with and all these famous people with, and then watch the music videos and see the imagery and tell me there isn't some weird shit going on, like for real. Like tell me there isn't something really, really off kilter and odd happening there. Like some of the songs like it's so incredibly blatant. It's unreal. And yeah, I have one memory of showing them a song where it's a song that I've written that is very good, but I have never put it on the internet and I've never put it anywhere. And I sort of never looking back, that's kind of weird. But I got a memory back recently where Max he told me that song's for you. You keep that one. He said he had tears in his eyes, and he said, "You have such a precious, precious, precious gift." Or something like that. And he's like, "I wish you could share it with people openly," or something to that effect. It's like you have such a precious gift, and they, I just wish it could be your gift or something like that. Which that when I got that memory back, I was like, whoa, because so far the memories were just bad, and then I got that memory, and I was like, I don't know if that's just him, because abusers will usually show you kindness and then pull it back, and you
Yeah.
know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I
Narcissists do
I'll put
that.
that in anything.
Narcissists in the here and now will do that. They'll love bomb you and then rip you apart, usually
And of
within
course they're stealing
seconds.
my music, so it's not like he's gonna tell me my music is bad. They're stealing it. How are they? How would they be able to convince me that my music isn't good? They're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, but that song, it's my song still, and I question because I really do think that they've stolen some of my music from like the here and now. Like, I'll make music, we'll find out about it, but they have the team that can just edit little things here and there, the adjusters, right? And they just
Yeah.
adjust things they need to take the songs that are really good. And an interesting thing is like I have a friend who, when the weekend came out with Blinding Lights, is one of my songs, he was like, "Yeah, man, I heard the song on the radio." He was like, "I thought it was you." I was like, "What the heck?" And then I was like, "It was the weekend," and I was like, "And it's like this new sound that but it sounds like the '80s, but like." He's just like, I don't know, it's just like totally sound like the music you're making. And I was like, this is just fucking weird. You know what I mean? And then I was at the time, I was like, yeah, it does sound a lot like the same style. Like we could, you know what I mean? That is odd. But then like I realized like, oh yeah, the weekend, the story behind Blinding Lights is Max kept on sending him, hey, well, how about this song? How about this song? And the weekend was just like, yeah, I don't really like that one. And then with Blinding Lights, he's finally, it was like the fifth song or something like that. And the weekend was finally like, okay, this one's pretty cool. Let's meet up. Let's try this song. And that song is inspired by when I was on Centurion. I talked about how I left,
Mm.
right? And I tried to just get out of there. And it's like, oh, I'm blinded by the lights and stuff like that. Like, that's what it's about. It's about trying, it's like my escape from that studio because I'm so lonely and I just want to talk to just anyone. Just anyone. And when he's talking about the city's cold and empty and stuff like that, it's because the city was like, where is everyone? It was like cold and empty. Like
Mm.
no one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. Like because they did have somebody there that was with me, but then they would take them back intermittently, bring them back. I don't know. There's also something I should mention. This is a good place to mention this. I'm not going to name names here, and this is some dark content, so this is a warning. But even at the recording studio at Centurion, when I would make my songs, we were doing rituals and gathering lush. We are doing the same shit, doing the same shit. We were hurting people to make the music. Like there was, but the thing is I remember this particular woman who she did the ritual, and what it was is like you'd go into a room and there was the altar with the woman laying naked on the altar, and there was three guys to the right, three guys to the left, and a guy in the middle, and they're all wearing what looked like gas masks mixed with like um plague doctor masks, like mixed. It looked like kind of like the same, like I don't know, mixture between the two. And so I couldn't see who they were, and they're wearing black robes with the hoods and everything. And I'd go in there, and the guy in the middle would have a chalice of blood, I think what it was, and he would drink some of the blood, and then he'd pass it around. We'd all drink it, and then basically the woman would get fucked. But this is the thing is like it sounds fucked up, but the woman, I remember she was honored to be a part of the ritual, and that it was like she was a part of the little cult too. Like not maybe not all the women, but the one that I had the clearest memory of, and that she wanted to be there. And I don't, maybe that's screen memory or something, but I really don't think it was. I think that she was willingly participating in it. And anyway, what happened is when you fucked her, they would when she climaxed, they would kill her. That was part of the ritual, and then they'd gather. That was them gathering the loosh from that or whatever. And somehow I think the blood that you drank at the beginning of the ritual came from the woman, and I feel like you'd cut their neck and drink the blood again or something like that. Obviously, it's a really gory memory. It's not one that I like to sit in very long and look at, but I mean, it did come back to me, and that's essentially the ritual. Is like and yeah, we gathered the energy from that, and that was part of the idea was you take that energy that you took from that person in that moment, and you go in there and you put it into the next song, that psychic energy. And yeah, there's super duper heavy duty black magic going on in the music industry, and it's becoming more and more obvious the more and more people actually are willing to look at it. So I know that's probably really heavy to hear, but it is what it is. I mean, I was taken.
Well,
They
it's
told me
really
to do this.
obvious in some of the heavy metal bands in this moment had an entire album that the lead singer was basically bathed in blood the entire time.
Yeah. So there was like I said, there were rituals going on there, and I believe I have no idea who those guys were in those suits and those masks. That was the reason they're for both the woman there and me. They didn't want either one of us to know who they were, and that was why they wore the masks. And I don't know if they're part of the sex with her. I think I did it. I think it was a thing between us, and they were just there to like watch and then drink the blood. I don't think they participated. They might have. I don't remember, but I do remember clearly multiple times just the walking into that room. And I think I would like alter out normally when I would do it, which is maybe why the memories, even by the standards of, it's like I have to go into two different altars or something to remember it. But like, yeah, I'd walk into that room and it was just like, it's a fucked up, weird. I don't know how to explain the feeling of walking into a room where a ritual like that is occurring. And, yeah. And another thing about it, I had weird Egyptian writings and stuff like that, and hieroglyphics and stuff all over the place. And yeah, I'm doing a ritual soon to do some energy work on me first of all. Somebody else is going to do that for me, and I'm also going to do some rituals on myself to get my memories back, so that when I talk about these memories, they're a little bit more clear to me. But I mean, the whole walking into the room and the woman lying there on the altar and the guys standing there and what they look like and the blood, like the sequence might be a little messed up, some things might be a little tiny off, but that happened. I remember it. Like I like for instance, like I don't know if they handed me the blood in the beginning or if that happened after they cut the woman or it happened twice and they had the blood from somewhere else or something. I don't know. But that's part of the ritual is you drink the blood and it's the person climaxing, you kill them while they do it, and that's gathering the loosh or whatever. So really messed up shit, and they did that to me for the music that they did that for the music that they made at Chiron, I believe, and I believe that it was like the same exact ritual kind of thing, except they would kill me, and that's why I would wake up over and over again and not remember it. And it's really, like I said, this shit's really hard for me to come to terms with and sit in these memories and accept that they're real because they're just so messed up. But it explains a lot. Like I said, Britney Spears, I mean, you got to think about it. You got a 16-year-old girl dressing up in um, slutty school uniforms, singing about getting hit during sex. And that didn't raise nearly enough red flags as I think it maybe should have. I mean, there were
Yeah.
people who offended. It's not that they weren't out there, but it's kind of incredible when you think about it because I feel like it just slipped right under the radar for most people. And that was like the same thing with a lot of those, the Backstreet Boys and all those people. They got their DNA. Donald Marshall talks about it. There's a list, man, of people that they can just, okay, we want to snack on this person tonight. We want to kill and eat this person tonight or whatever. Do whatever fucked up shit they want to do. If there are people that have access to this. Another memory that I got back that is not really connected to this music stuff, but is connected to the programs in general, and I think is important to maybe mention. Um, I recently had an incident where I was having a conversation with somebody in Facebook about some pretty heavy duty, well, just actually it seemed like just regular old SSP stuff. I don't think it have any consequences. And they said something about my German altar being uh, on vacation at New Atlantis. And okay, no big deal, right? Well, I get kidnapped that night. Okay, and there was even physical evidence. There's physical evidence that my girlfriend got taken. She got bruises. She took pictures of it. But basically, it was a tall white I call him the Ice King. I can't remember what his real name is. I'm sure I know it. That's not there right now, but I call him the Ice King because he wears the blue jumpsuit and he's got a big white beard and like white eyes, and he looks old. But yeah, and he basically just told me, we know what your altar is doing, okay? And we know that they're gonna take the disc or whatever or something like that. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's just going on vacation. And they're like, oh no, we've got intel, and you're not just going on vacation. And shame on you for bringing your family to do something like that. That's unbelievable to us. The balls you have. And he just showed me that it was my CIA alter Ryan. Now this is fucked up. This is very fucked up shit. This is psychological, like this is like horror movie level shit. And this happened to me, man. He brought me to this room full of clones of people that I love on the right and the left hand
Mm.
sides of the wall. And he told me, we can wake these people up so you can have a good time with them and see them and be with them, or we can wake them up and torture them in front of you. Which would you rather have? And I was just like, holy shit. And he's like, bring him forward. And it was my son. I've talked about him in other interviews, Benny. He died in the early days of Centurion. We didn't have regen tech or anything like that. He drowned in a river. It was him. And he's like, Daddy, where am I? Where am I? I'm like, son, it's gonna be okay. Da, da, da. And he's like, why would you lie to your son like that? It's not going to be okay, and all this shit. I'm like, listen, I'll make sure. Okay, you know what I mean? That I'll make sure that he knows. He's like, good. Tell him that we have people that he loves too, and we're gonna find a way to get him because they don't have this alter code. So I think is what they're saying. Like they had to go through me to get to him, but they're basically saying we're gonna
Oh.
get the alter codes and we're gonna be able to wake him up here. So you better be fucking careful. It was just a really like they got me from
That's serious that they're looking for alter codes. The NSA had at least one of my sets of alter codes is how I got activated in the first place. When they have those, you're vulnerable, seriously vulnerable, and so is everybody in your life.
so and it's one of those Murphy's law kind of things. Like people always think Murphy's law is whatever um can happen wrong will happen. No, it means whatever can happen will happen kind of thing. Like if you can imagine it, it probably is occurring somewhere. Like it probably can happen and will happen, right? And I think that's kind of what it is with the clones. Like they've taken it to that level. Like think about it, like people in the mafia. The first thing they'll go after is your kids and stuff like that to tell you to be quiet and shit, right? Well, take it to the next level where they have clone technology. It's not that complicated, not that far off to think that they would do this shit. That they would get the DNA and the codes or whatever they need, the consciousness of people that you care about, and maybe it isn't even actually them, and it's some sort of illusion, whatever. I don't know. But they can really psychologically manipulate you with that, and it's been that way in the program. It's the same thing. The idea of the twins in the first place was so you had someone to love, so that they could psychologically manipulate you into doing what they want, especially in situations where torturing you or hurting you wasn't enough. They take you
Yeah,
away, plan, etc., etc. So it's like it's not that wild to think that they would take you to the next level. And I mean, that is horror movie type shit. Like being like
it
hit,
is.
you're 6 to 8 years old. I think it was like 8 years old. The last thing he remembers is dying on Centurion, and all of a sudden he's in some room full of clone tanks, and I'm standing there, probably wearing normal Earth clothes, which is probably weird as fuck, and I'm just like talking about like it's gonna be okay, and he's like, "Why are you telling? Well, why would you lie to him like that?" Like, dude, it was messed up. It was really messed up, and his memories back was really messed up, and the fact that there was physical evidence that it happened is messed up. But yeah, back to the music thing though. There are more songs, and there's another altar that I'm going to be 100% clear here, and I think I've talked about this before. I have the Swiss cheese effect with this guy big time. He's new to me, but I have an alter named Hans that made a bunch of German music, and I think he might have been a Montauk alter, one that did stuff in Germany, one that did stuff in the German colonies, stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that like the biggest thing for me is okay. This was the moment where like, all right, I should take this seriously and I should talk about this in the interview, definitely, and talk about this publicly, definitely. Is there's a song. Sweet Dreams of Rhythm and Dancing. And I was listening to it and I was like, man, I really think I wrote this song. I mean, there's just something about it. And then Rhythm of the Night as well. But anyway, Sweet Dreams of Rhythm and Dancing, which is a club Euro dance club hit, right? Um, I'm like, man, I really think I wrote this song. Like, there's something going on here. Like, it's not like the memory's like clearly hitting me, but it's just the emotion of it. I'm like, man, it's kind of like if you can psychically tell anything, right? As somebody who has those kind of abilities, you probably could sense if you're listening to a song you wrote, maybe, right? I mean, I feel like that's what it was. Like, I could just sense, like this is my song. So I looked into it, and this guy basically, it was there's some other people's names don't really matter as much, but there's some producer and he was working with some woman. She's already had some songs that are about those. And anyway, that she said that she played a show and with a cover band, and there's this guy Jay Supreme, and here's this nobody that for whatever reason they just let this nobody fucking guy that has never been on a song, has no cred behind him to help the song with views or anything. He just came out of nowhere. And they're like, yeah, let's have this guy rap a line on the song, and he's just in the song for 1 second and he raps, and it's the worst part of the song. Anyway, this guy Jay Supreme is was a German stationed or not Jay Supreme, excuse me, Lane McRae. Sweet Dreams is Lane McRae. This is enough. That's a whole nother guy um, from another song. But Lane McRae, it was stationed in Germany with the U.S. Where Air Force. That's Sweet Dreams. No, that's I think I'm getting my notes mixed up. But Lane McRae is connected to I think Rhythm of the Night actually. But and then Sweet Dreams is and Mr. Vane is this German Supreme Jay Supreme guy, and he was a German stationed U.S. Army. Okay, and Sweet Dreams of Rhythm and Dancing and Rhythm of the Night on some sort of breakaway colony somewhere. My memories are so unclear. It could even be Mars. Okay, I'm not sure where it was, but somewhere there exists a double-sided vinyl that is Rhythm of the Night and Sweet Dreams, and it's the same artist. It's me, and I worked with some female vocalists, and I feel like there might have been some other guy that helped with it or something like that too. It might have been 3 people, but I know I was behind it, and I just remember that there was like these songs were made for a club somewhere on a breakaway, particularly for this club that a lot of people would go to, and
The
yeah, and
Pleasure Center
like
on
I said,
Mars.
what?
The Pleasure Center on Mars.
Yeah, it could be. Well, there's another thing that I noticed is kind of interesting. I haven't been able to find any weird connections or something like that, but there's a song "Sandstorm" by Darude. Now, the explanation is because there's a setting on one of the synthesizers that he used, and the preset is Sandstorm. It's called that. But I have this feeling that that song has to do with the sandstorms on Mars, and that like when the sandstorms happen, a lot of work that you would do on the surface, things that you would normally be able to do. Basically, it's like okay, work can't get done, right? A
Yeah,
lot of work, so it's party time. Like go, you can, you know what I mean, leisure time.
yeah.
They'll, and then that's why a rave would get thrown sometimes. It'd be word of mouth, just like in England with that culture, it'd be word of mouth, and it'd be held in some weird warehouse somewhere or something like that. And the authorities that were supposed to do something about it, but they'd either get tipped off to look the other way or whatever. And yes, there'd be drugs, and yes, there'd be sex. And I've been going to raves here on Earth, and I tell my girlfriend every time these Earth people do not know to do this right. Like it's always not enough people, not enough bodies, not enough. The energy's just not there. The raves are better on other planets. I swear to God. But yeah, I but because and it's another thing. This is like everybody that's their chance to blow off steam. Like when, for instance, like if there's a success, if a battle is won, something like that, they might have a rave to let everybody blow off steam, and it's like 90% of the time you're military and you're doing military shit and you're barking orders and you're taking orders and that's all you do is work. And then they're telling you, all right, blow off some steam. We go fucking nuts. I'm sure you remember this. We
Oh,
party
yes.
fucking can't even imagine. It's debauchery. It's literally fucking debauchery, man. That's what they let us do, though, and it's the only time that it's
Well,
like there's all these
The
rules.
Germans, particularly, they have this attitude that you're more productive if you're having sex, and so they don't, as long as there's no drama afterwards. They don't care. Um, but it's supposed to be voluntary, and that was a problem that I had with a couple of commanding officers, was that they didn't they wanted to force themselves upon me, and it's supposed to be voluntary.
And frankly, normally everybody's in such a good mood and there's plenty of people, and the attitude in Space about sex was way more relaxed. So
Mhm.
it's kind of weird for them to even have to do that, because it's like they should be able to just get some somewhere else from somebody who maybe would want it, especially considering it sounds like they're commanding officers. Um, but yeah, sometimes a lot of times people don't like the commanding officers because they're the guys that have to be dicks. Like I remember one thing I remember about the rave thing. Like I said, I still not remembering where it was exactly, but I remember that there was a commanding officer that would come to the raves, and there was this joke because like no one wanted him there, but no one could tell him to fucking leave. No one could be like,
Yeah, he
dude,
was a boss. You
he's
couldn't
having a
make him
good
leave.
time, and here's a guy who's gonna bitch at us about this tomorrow. Like, why are you even here? You know what I mean? But he's there and he's got his drink in his hand and he's smiling and he's trying to have a good time too, but he's just like souring the vibe, totally blissfully unaware that he is. Like, like that's another memory that I got back. Like, but
Well,
yeah,
he
Mr.
needed to
Vane,
blow
another
out.
song, Mr. Vane, which connected to Jay Supreme, which is I think, another one of my songs, which the singer is female and she's saying, "I know what I want because I'm Mr. Vane." Doesn't even make sense. Um, but basically, yeah. So there's something going off over there, alarm or something. Um, I might have to turn it off myself here. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Ugh, a little inconvenient, but sorry. Um,
Life happens.
yeah. So those Euro songs, like basically what I've surmised is like a lot of these Euro, like a lot of the Euro hits, the Euro movement, the Euro dance movement here on Earth. I think a lot of it came, the movement came from space, and that's why some of these hits, I know I didn't write them. Some of these Eurodance ones, I think it's like that. There's music that sounds like that in space. In fact, I remember there's a drum machine, and it's called the Albestir or something like that, which means workhorse in German, and it looks a lot like a TR 909 or an 808, but it's German. So like, I remember that, and it's like similar to the drum machines here. And I don't know who copied who. They might have copied the Japanese drum machines here. And another thing that I want to make clear too is like, there was an organic electronic music movement here on Earth that happened, like with the acid house and all sorts of stuff. And I'm not trying to take credit for the fact all the great musicians that were a part of that movement. I'm just saying a lot of those hits that sound exactly the same. Okay, they have a black woman singing on them. Some guy raps at some point, and the woman almost sounds the same, and I can get, like I said, I can list off the songs like "Rhythm of the Night," "Sweet Dreams of Rhythm and Dancing," "Mr. Vane," uh, um, uh, like a lot of these songs, like they're totally different bands with totally different people, but they sound the same. And that's because I wrote them, like, and that's because and that's the reason why they have similar themes. Um, you know, it's yeah, it's really interesting. But like I said, I'm not the only one, and there I feel like I don't know who influenced who more, but there was a movement here on Earth, and you got to give credit where it's due. A lot of the people that were behind that movement, it was like Detroit City, Chicago, a lot of um, black DJs that decided to mess around with drum machines and records and synthesizers and stuff like that, and use a lot of tools that were originally designed to just be practice tools. There's a lot of organic effort here on Earth to make the music what it was, so I don't want to take all the credit for it. But and then also because there's some of these songs have black musicians on them and stuff like that too, like the singers, and a few of them the writers, but I think most of them was actually like white European guys. But I'm not trying to take away like I don't want this to turn into a thing where they're like, oh, he's saying this music's from the German breakaways because of course black people couldn't make great music. And it's like, where do you think half the great music you love comes from? It comes from black people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But I am gonna say, like, these songs that they stole from me, they stole them from me. Like, that's not because I'm trying to negate somebody else's work. I'm trying to say my own work, what I did, and I did impact the sound of dance music. I did. Like, it's a fact. Like, all these songs that sound the same, they're for my Hans altar, some sort of German breakaway colony, which I wonder if it's a Montauk altar because, like I said, it's what
Lost your sound.
another another phone call. All right, people are calling me. I like never get phone calls. And then I'm doing an interview with you, and I get phone calls. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. This has sorry for all the interruptions. This interview. It's been like three things now. I'm sorry.
Any time that I do a show, there's shit. You should know that by now. There's phone calls, there's people at the door, there's internet interruptions, there's somebody's computer or phone decides to die. There's always something. So at least it's you getting phone calls.
It could be worse. You're right. Um, but yeah, that's mostly the notes that I have here and stuff like that. Is I think I covered like a lot of what I wanted to cover. Um, I'm just looking here to see if I forgot anything or skipped over anything. Okay, yeah. Some of the another thing that I got to bring up too, which is interesting to me, which I think is a clue, a really important clue. Um, and I don't know if I mentioned it on the show before in my last interview, but I'm going to mention it anyway. The song "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana. You know that melody.
I remember that one.
Yeah, everybody knows that. It's like a huge song, and it's also a popular song on Centurion Epsilon or Centurion 5. I remember there being this like Italian like it was like in the style, interestingly enough, of like it kind of like the same kind of instruments as like that's what they used in um some of the Celine Dion songs like My Heart Will Go On. Um but it was like it sounded kind of like that kind of music almost, but an Italian guy singing over it. All right. And so very operatic, the same melody, but a totally different song that sounded almost it's like almost like a romantic tune, I'm pretty sure, which Smells Like Teen Spirit isn't. And it tells me that Kurt did some weird ritual or did something messed up and to get where he was. That he was doing some black magic or something like that. And sold his soul to the devil, who was probably actually just a time corp time traveler trying to buy a soul to put it on the black market. Like, but yeah,
Now
that's
that's a concept you need to go into because
oh, I didn't go
haven't
into
heard
that.
I haven't heard that one.
Okay, well, this is important. I'm glad that there you go. Yeah, this is an important aspect. So, what we would do a lot of times with these songs, like here's like a good question is like, okay, like the Montauk drummer brought up today that Preston Nichols tried to make himself sound like the facilitator for all this when he really wasn't, and that makes sense because I have memories of what we would do is we would go in, and a lot of times it would be literally John Whitberg who've had on the show.
Mhm.
Um, he'd wear a gray suit, and he'd have a briefcase, and he'd portal into some record producer's office or some musician's home or whatever, and he'd say, "Hey, I'm the devil. Um, I have a song that'll
I
make
can't see him doing that, but it's okay. I
yeah
believe you.
yeah no he'd say I'm the devil himself, and because he'd come in through a portal, and these people are a lot of these songs was a long time ago. He'd say I'm the devil, and it wasn't always him. I think we used him a lot to do it. for whatever reason. But there was also, depending on the race of the person, a lot of times we try to use somebody that was the same race or whatever to make them feel more comfortable or whatever, or like if but anyway, a lot of times it was John, and he would just say like, I'm the devil, and I have this hit song that you can have, and all you have to do is give me your immortal soul. And these people not understanding, some people would actually do it. I mean, sure, some people refuse, and then we'd wipe their memory and make them so they never knew it even happened. But um, basically, like it was a way. If you can get Pearson to sign a contract, that's very powerful magic. Contracts are pretty powerful magic. You can break them. You can break contracts, especially when you're being taken advantage of and not being given all the information that you maybe necessarily need to understand the contract. You can break them, but they are powerful magic, and that's why we'd get them to sign their soul away for these programs because they'd be powerful beings. We know, like it's not that like Kurt wasn't a great songwriter and he needed to steal a song. It's just that was the song that got his music out there. Like it's not like all of his music was stolen, and even that song, he took a melody and did what he did with it. That was his art. That the way it sounded with the distorted guitar and everything else, and the loud, quiet, loud. That was Kurt. He just took the melody, and that's why Max Martin, he says, "Melody is king. Melody is king." I always start with the melody. He steals the melody from people that he's doing those weird rituals to, like me. Like they'd make me sing, and they'd start with the melody that I sang, and that red light would be going off when they're doing it in the room where people would work on the music. And that, like, think about, like, you got to think of it as weird. Like, why would you have this red light on? They call it the hit light. It means we're making a hit. There's more behind that than that. Like, it's not just some weird ritual that he did for fun. Ha
Well,
ha. No,
hit also means a murder.
yeah. So it's just there's so many different connections to it, and yeah, he would go. He would play the song on the when he would go through the portal and show the song. He'd open up the briefcase, and I think there'd be like almost like like a MP3 player kind of thing in there with two little speakers, and he'd show them the song, and depending on who it was or whatever, sometimes he'd have the sheet music, or some sort of way where they could listen to the song and learn the song or whatever, when they left. But yeah, basically they'd listen to the song and they'd be like, yeah, you're not gonna remember we'll wipe your memory if you don't say it, so you're not gonna remember the song, so it's not like you can just have it anyway. And we'd get people to sell their souls, and all these famous people, a lot of them that you see, they're either have sold their souls or they're already in this to begin with. They're reincarnated people that have been inside the cult for a really long time, and because that's the thing too. But yeah, the whole idea of musicians selling their soul to the devil comes from Montauk, time travel, time corp stuff. Which I've been saying it in my interviews. Montauk was a time corporation, and
Yeah.
and I believe myself. This is my testimony. Nobody else that I know that I associate with that has said it, but I believe that there is a corporation that is multi-dimensional, multi-timeline, multi whatever that was behind Montauk. It was a time corporation. And whether or not that part of it was true, Montauk was a time corporation. It was a corporation. It was just
Mhm.
trying to get money and power and resources, and it operated like a business almost, but like emotionless. I mean, there was such dark things that happened, but as long as they gained resources and power, it didn't matter, and they operated like a ruthless corporation, a time corp. I was basically an object owned by a time corp. You know?
I think people need to also understand that there is a police force for time actions and
Yeah,
that they will step in eventually, but but it's just like your regular police, they have to make a case before they can arrest.
I have an alter named Jonas who works for the Mantis beings. Um, I actually have this wand here. It's a good chance to bring up. Um, they showed this woman. Her name's Yovanda, or you can call it her Yowanda because she makes the wand kind of her nickname. Yolanda Wells. She makes these, and she said that these mantis beings um, showed her how to make them. And I found it really interesting. Well, basically, I went to the Journey to Truth conference. She came up to me, and I'll backtrack a little bit and tell my side of this. So, like, these mantis beings, time cop thing. That's why I'm talking about this. That's why I came
Mm.
up. Uh, they took me like a year ago, something like that. It was after I did my interview with you and stuff, and I'd been talking, and they're like, "Hey, you're so for a while your cover author really wasn't like doing anything to the timeline, but now they are, and check all this stuff out." And we were in like a holodeck kind of room, and they're just showing me this. His name is, I call him Steve. He's like a giant mantis being, and I call him Steve. The reason why is because if they do communicate verbally, it's like clicks and hisses, and also they kind of
Yeah,
have like a hotline, so they don't really use names the same way we do anyway. But when I told them like it's hard for me for you to not have a name, they will call me what you want, you know. So Steve, and it was so funny because like this memory seemed kind of odd to me, and I know screen memories are real like a thing, and it kind of struck me as like. But anyway, they told me that also like I got out of that like it wasn't they told me, but I got out of remember being in the moment of the occasion that Jonas was a time cop that worked for them, and that they would send me in to be like, hey, let's stop that or whatever. They in situations where maybe a 17-foot tall mantis being might not be appropriate, right?
yeah.
But yeah, and they seem benevolent, and but anyway, Yolanda comes up to me. She says these beings showed me how to make these wands, and I got this mantis being. His name is Jerry, and he told me I have to give a wand to you, so you can pick any wand you want out of my wands. And
So you matched your pendant.
yeah, yeah, of course. And yeah, it was really wild because it like verified because she said the same thing. It's like they don't want you need to designate them somehow, and you don't want to call them Xanthon or something weird. Give them some
Yeah.
weird spooky space. You just want something familiar and normal. So yeah, I call mine Jerry. You call yours Steve. It's funny. We both got to kind of chuckle over that, and it just became that was the moment where like okay, these mantis beings definitely are a thing. And yeah, this is an energy and intention amplifier. It's what it does is it can't give you powers you don't have. It just can like magnify your powers, magnify your abilities that you have, and kind of focus them like a magnifying glass focusing sunlight or something like that. And it has a jinn inside of it, which she didn't really explain the jinn to me exactly that much. I mean, she did explain the wand to me, and I could have asked her any questions I wanted to. But when I first, when the jinn first talked to me, I was gonna go back to the conference from the place where I was staying, and it said, "Hey, where are you going? Why aren't you taking me?" I was like, "What? What the fuck?" Okay. So I grabbed it and I was like, "What's going on here? So you're alive?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm alive. Um, I'm only alive when you touch me normally. No, because if you don't need me, I'm just gonna sleep. It's the equivalent of sleep. It's like I'm not alive unless you touch me." And he told me he's like, so that means if you're not gonna use me, don't touch me, because that means that'd be like me waking you up, shaking you, hey, and then just staring at you. It's like that's literally the way he explained it. I was like, so don't please don't do that. But now that you're, but he's like, I know that you don't know me well yet, and you want to get used to me. So I don't care if you just carry me around, keep me in your hands for now. Like let's get used to each other. I was like, okay. And he just told me. I asked him, I was like, what should I call you? He's like, call me Carl. I was like, why Carl? He's like, I don't know. Why not Carl? I was like, because it just seems. Where did that even come from? He's like, it's the first thing I thought of. You can call me Wanda if you want. It's for you. It's not for me. He's funny. The thing is it's like this Jin that's inside here. He's just very matter of factly because he doesn't understand the way I look at things, and it makes him hilarious, even though he's not trying to be funny. He's hilarious. But yeah, there's a Jin, and it sounds cuckoo, but it's true. People that are deep enough into magic and stuff understand this thing really has a Jin inside of it. It's really alive. It helps me. It also told me that I'm so messed up from what they did to me in the programs and everything else that I better not even think about trying to do energy work or help other people. That's what he told me. It's like, you need to heal yourself and do stuff for yourself first. And he told me he will literally refuse to do magic for anyone else. He'll only do magic for me. Like if I try to cast a spell to help somebody else, he won't let it happen. And he also explained to me too that like a lot of times when you do that, you humans don't understand what's going on and you're not helping the person. Like some
Yeah.
like for instance, like someone's having maybe financial troubles, and so you do a spell to help them get money. But there's like some lesson they're supposed to learn there, and a couple weeks from them they would have been fine because they would have gotten the lesson or something like that. But you fucked that up for them because you wanted to help them, something like that. I don't know, and I'm not saying don't do spells and help people. Like I'm not saying you don't do it. He just told me in particular right now that's the last thing I should be doing. I have way too much stuff to do for myself to sit there and try to work for other people. But once I do that, he said,
Uh,
"Yeah, go ahead, work for people. You just have a lot of
I
healing to do."
I don't do stuff on other people as a general rule. Once in a while, my guides will tell me to help someone, um, and then I will. But I've had people get really hostile that I refuse to do anything. But like you, I'm so messed up that it's probably not going to do them any good anyway.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because in the position that I'm in now, people understand what Montauk was and the abilities we had and stuff like that. So people hit me up and they say, "Hey, can you help me with energy work? Can you help me with this and that? Can you remote view with this and that?" I'm like, yo, I don't have any of those abilities right now. It's like really hard for me to deal with. It's really hard for me to tell people this. That like what if my main concern right now isn't trying to remote view deep underground military bases? What if my main concern right now is healing, maybe? Right? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that those things I do want to do those things and I want to get into the position where people message me, I can maybe actually help them. But until I am, I'm not going to sit there and grift people and offer my help when I don't know what the fuck I'm doing still. And That's important, I think, to do and I think a really important thing that I could just for me to point out and maybe just say right now is I'm not somebody that I want to be. I don't want to be put on a pedestal. A lot of you people reaching out to me. I don't even know that much more than you. I was at Montauk and stuff, and I remember some pretty wild things, and I know I've done some pretty crazy things. And inside me, there are some wild abilities, and I'm not even saying don't contact me, whatever. I can't help you. I just feel like I've noticed, especially after the Journey to Truth conference, like wow, some people think that I really am on a maybe deeper level that I'm not quite on yet, right? Like maybe I'll get there, guys. I'm not saying, but yeah, right now I'm figuring out my memories, figuring out my altars, figuring out where I'm gonna live, figuring out my where my living situation and my life with my partner and just stuff like that, figuring out like the normal everyday nuts and bolts stuff. I can't figure out the remote viewing and the helping people do energy work and all that really
Well,
cool stuff I want to do. I can't do that until I'm in a really solid place in my life and my aura is solidly healed and there's any weird, I have a lot of energy work that I need to do on myself. I will learn how to do Reiki work. I will learn how to do all these things. I will learn how to take the abilities that they stole from me to harm people and use them to help people. All I'm saying is I'm not there yet. So give me some time.
when I first came public, I was inundated with people who thought because I remembered it that I was able to help them. Now, I had been listening to, I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but he's a Buddhist monk who recently died. And he talked about something called deep listening. And that was what I was doing for people. Except they decided that since I wasn't a licensed clinician, they didn't have to pay me. And I would have people just chatter at me, stream of consciousness stuff for 12 hours a day, day in and day out, take up all of my time. They were siphoning all of my energy and just I got to where that I thought I was dying. simply because all these people were sucking me dry. And at that point, I said, no more. I've been really resistant to doing any kind of counseling. And that's why, is because it's been what, 2.5 years that I've stopped doing it. So before that, they were just, it was like their intention was to suck every bit of energy out of me and leave me a dry husk. And it felt like a coordinated attack. And so I just cut them all off. Once in a while, I will find somebody that I am led to contact and say, if you need a listener, I'm here. But, you know, I've been public for 7 years and I don't get paid for this shit. I don't get paid for doing groups on Facebook. I don't get paid for my show. I have I have supporters. At this point, we figured out that I'm putting out about $100 a show, and my supporters are now contributing about 150 a month. So I'm still putting out most of it myself. I'm not making money off this, and you know, people
I
should
think at
respect that.
the very least, you shouldn't have to spend money on it, and I think you should make a little bit of money for what you do. But it's not really. I guess it's the way of the rat race. It's like you have to figure out how to make money off of being a public person in a way that still has integrity, and that's kind of hard to do. But I think that if you write a book, Penny, which I know you're doing,
Hmm.
and put that out, that might finally see a little bit of money for all the hard work you put in. I really hope so. I'll definitely buy the book, and I know a lot of different people will. So that's something
Thank
that
you.
we're all behind, and hopefully that'll make up for the years and years of you just throwing money at this. Um,
Yeah, I've been throwing time and energy and money at this because the message needed to be out there that our government is so fucked up that they are kidnapping children for black ops.
yeah, and not
And
only that,
it
the they're
it's
not they're kidnapping them for sex rituals and stuff like that too.
that's part
It's
of
not
it.
just. Yep,
That's
it's pretty
part of
terrible.
that's part of the black ops is the sex rituals and the black magic, and it's all one big fucking mess. And they're kidnapping your kids, folks. And the only people who can stop this is the public telling these agencies to stop. We have to force
We
it.
have a lot of momentum behind us right now. A good thing to bring up too, just in the grand scheme of things, is you saw the panel that Greer did, and
Yeah,
your good friend Eric was on it and stuff like that. And even though it wasn't maybe as you gotta give credit where it's due, right? That was a good push towards the public one, huh? Although I guess they tried to paint it as they're all nice or whatever, which I saw Eric's part, and that's not what he was saying. And I know that he's been talking all sorts of crap about me, but I respect him. I'm frankly, it kind of breaks my heart that he's sitting there calling me a liar. When what the fuck does he know about me? How does he know my story's not true? And now that he's in this
yeah,
position because he has this evidence, and he could have been there and said, "Hey, this guy's telling the truth and help me," and he shits on me like that when I don't even know him, and all I did was talk to him. All I did was bring up in the interview that when he with Shane, which the only reason I did that was to refute it, not agree with it. And I just brought up that when he was arguing with Shane, he just wasn't saying very much. He's just kind of calling him names and stuff. He was doing ad hominem, and maybe that upset him. But whatever. I have enough integrity to admit when someone that doesn't like me still has really good information, and he does. And that was a big fucking deal.
um,
That talk about that
Eric
stuff.
Eric has a lot of anger, and he's as damaged as the rest of us. But his information from Antarctica is important.
I
And
think so too.
I
I
put
do.
up I put up with a lot of his rage. He has the kind of attacks that he's done on you, he has done on me privately. And I have put up with it because his information is that important.
He's got a point to a point. Okay, the public, the normal average Joe people need a fucking guy like him who has, hey, this is evidence. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to shut? No, I have hardcore evidence. Yeah, he's right. That should put him on a pedestal. That should put him in a position where he gets on talk shows, where he gets more attention. And
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that people like me who talk about shit that the public is not ready for shouldn't be talking for the people that are also like me, experiencing the same things as me, and as well as the public who is ready to hear my message. It's like we're both important. We both got our own thing going on, and my whole parade that I'm on doesn't rain on his in any way at all. And I just don't understand the attacks. I don't understand why he's attacking John Lippert. I don't understand why he's attacking me. It's like, how the fuck does he know? Like, whatever though, it's fine. But I do think it's important to point out, like, even when people don't like me, I'm still willing to accept that when there are good people and they have good information, you should listen to them. And his testimony does not doesn't make my testimony not any less real. I don't know why he's upset with me, but whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, there's that. That's a big deal. The fact that they're talking about that, and then what else just happened that's also a really big deal, or something else I wanted to say.
there was another speaker on that panel that had witnessed human beings being put in containers and loaded onto an ET ship. That that was important. That was incredibly important. And that was when Greer decided to rush everybody else, because that was getting too close to what he was trying to. He has this mental block that only the humans are evil. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a 3D reality where everything is the polarity of good and bad. So everything out there has good and bad, not just us.
Yeah, and one thing that I've been realizing, and this is a really great segue and a good part of the conversation, is like I have realized there's both sides of the coin. Like I think Journey to Truth conference and realizing, these mantis beings seem to have some pretty good intentions behind what they're doing, stuff like that. It's like I also realize the other side of the coin is definitely important, like the Stephen Greer kind of idea that there are benevolent ET out there. But that is important because there are. It's like it's insane to think that there wouldn't be. And
Yeah,
the Far Side guys, which I respect them, I think they're a great source of information. They call them the free will ETs and the authoritarian ETs, and I think that's pretty correct. There are ET out there who
yeah,
think free will is important. And if your free will is you want to be enslaved, then so be it. That's your free will. That's how fucking obsessed they are with free will. Is like even
yeah,
if your will to be not in control of your own will, well, so be it. That's what you asked for. But yeah, I think we are in a position where these free will ETs are like doing some crazy stuff behind the scenes. I mean, there's people in the conferences like I'll admit it, like I don't know her stuff very well, and her name's Lily Nova. I don't know her stuff very well. She's always seen me as seemed kind of like love and light to me, which as somebody who's experienced such darkness, it's like hard for me to look at people like that. But
yeah,
I noticed at the conference posted like she's like, yeah, I had a positive experience with ET, and I talked about it, and I just wanted like a sign that they're really out there. And she shows this video of like you can see the craft. It's like out there, and it's just like, and she's talking about benevolent ET, not bad ones. So it's like that shows me that they are here. Like there are benevolent ET that are like the game. The game time is now. Like if we want to help them, this is the only opportunity we have. And again, I'm parroting the Farsight guy. I don't want to take credit for what he's saying, but I just agree with him. He's saying like the time is now. Like we've
mm-hmm.
tried disclosure in the past. Humanity has tried disclosure in the past. It fails because it happens slowly. Well, now we got the internet, which is like boom, 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 disclosure. Punch people in the face with it. And not only that, this is an important thing that he's been talking about. Courtney Brown has been talking about is
Yeah.
cameras that they came out with in 2022, where all you have to do is convert them to infrared and convert them to full spectrum, and you can point them in the sky, and they shoot at so many frames per second where you can slow down the video, and it doesn't really matter where you are. You are going to catch craft flying across the sky. That's how busy our skies are. And as Courtney Brown points out, well, if they're hiding, that good if they're good and they want to help us and they're so great, why would they be hiding? And so it's something to think about. And of course, the free will ET probably have thought of the idea of showing themselves or something like that. But we live in a world where people are so mind controlled that, let's say if the will ones decided one night, okay, let's uncloak for a second. And that will wake so many people up. Well,
I think that would be a good thing.
I think it would be a good thing, but then also it was swamp gas, it was cloud formations, it was
They're gonna build.
CGI, Project Bluebeam. None of it was real. I mean, they would literally have to land on the ground and come to all of our doors and shake our hands in order for us to fucking be woken out of our slumber and be like, oh, okay. I shouldn't say we, but like the average
Yeah,
Joe, the average
the
me.
average Joe out there, yes.
Yeah,
Or
like,
or when I was contacted by the Punti, um, they are one of the so-called gray races. They're actually watchers. They're assigned to monitor our progress. But when I was contacted by them, we had this discussion about, because they're wanting to do official first contact. And we had a discussion about what I referred to as Billy Bob in his Chevy pickup with a shotgun in the back window, and how they were going to have to deal with that if they decided to do first contact. And yes, I do have planes flying overhead, and no, they didn't until we were recording. But okay, I have lots of ET contact. Most of the ones I interact with are Team Free Will. You knew this. This is not something I have sat here and said, blah. What I will say is I have been picked up by people use loosely, that the public thinks are negative. And they were very good to me. I have been picked up by people that the public thinks are positive, and they literally tried to fucking kill me. And I was rescued by the Germans in space. Most of my abductions have been CIA or OSS, humans abducting me. The CIA broke my shoulder. The CIA has had my ankles broken. The CIA has had my wrist broken. I have arthritis in all those injuries now. I hurt a lot all the time.
what I've noticed is they do that when you stop listening. Um, they'll punish you in the here and now with ailments for not listening out there.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I'm starting to think it is, and you're probably becoming more and more resistant and saying "fuck you" to them more and more, and they don't like that. So they usually will show you that they don't like that.
Well, when Joseph Salter got our armada picked up, the Draco took over the armada and put me in charge. And so it's one of those situations where competing bosses are fighting over what's supposed to be done. I'm still following Oberkommando's orders, but I'm not the person they wanted in charge. So I'm sure that's a real issue for them. But as Matt Tracy put it, I am the senior Draco hybrid. on the Armada, and the only one that the Draco officers would follow at that point. So it was a real problem when we were arrested, because all of the officers, human and Draco, were tortured by the military industrial complex. Our ships were impounded and we were all tortured, and we would still be in that prison if an interdimensional had not come and rescued me.
Wow.
So that was a really difficult situation. And I recognized my jailer, the man who came in and beat me every fucking day. So I I can't even look at the man without going into a panic attack. So he won't be on my show for a long time. Yes, I know he's real, but he's not going to be on my show for a long time. So yes, there are real people out there that I won't have on because I'm not healed. People who think I am are unrealistic. You can't go through lifetimes of torture in these programs over and over and over and over and over and over. I've been taken as many as 3-4 times a night and kept for 60 years each time. I wake up more tired than when I went to bed.
My memories are so bad, but I'm doing some rituals and stuff to clear it and hopefully help out with that lately, because I'll be getting memories back lately, and I can see they're coming. Like my higher self is trying to show me where, but I can't see it, but I can see it. It's so hard to explain, but
Yeah.
and I know that I'm getting memories back, and I need to do some serious work to make it so that I can actually see my memories clearly and go into them. And I don't know, I have a lot of work to do there, but forgot the point I was gonna make. I was gonna say something else. I
Well,
don't know.
I'm having to take the time and do my own work. Um, this year I got threatened with life in a wheelchair in the here and now. And I had 3 specialists come up with the same diagnosis. And I was given a list of 5 things I have to do. And the treatments for one are incompatible with the treatments for another. And so it's made my life really difficult. And the good news is I've lost 20 pounds. um, that by itself has made things a little easier. I still have 50 more to go. So yes, I will be shrinking. No, it's not because I'm sick. It's because I need to lose weight. And so yeah, I'm spending more time thinking about what I remember and putting the pieces together. And I'm trying to write, but the narrative in my head is not complete enough yet for it to really be easy or to make sense. And then there's the emotional part of, oh my God, did I really just write that?
Yeah, this interview it's hard for me was hard for me because I had to talk about the stuff that those guys did at the Chiron Studios and the ritual
Yeah,
abuse of it. And it's like, let's just say hypothetically there's some sort of reason that I was somehow wrong and I have those memories somehow because I got it all fucked up. I'd feel terrible, but where the hell would these memories come from? Why would I have memories of that? And then I think about the things like you're sitting there writing a song. The last thing you want is just random people scrabbling to try to come in and help you. That's not how a song works. I know as a songwriter, that's going to distract you and fuck you up. Random people, oh, play this chord. Well, how about this line? What the? That doesn't even make sense. Like, So, everyone can use discernment. I'm using my own discernment here, and I'm saying it probably happened, especially with what Donald Marshall talks about, or seeing with the
Mhm.
cloning with celebrities and the pop stars. It all lines up. Britney Spears, they're showing videos of her, and they're clearly CGI. People are picking it apart on TikTok, like that's not her. Like it's like an AI or something like that. Like who knows where she is actually right now? There's just it's just and the same kind of ritual abuse that occurred that I went under Britney did too, and those probably those NSYNC guys did and stuff like that too. I don't know, but I know Britney is a huge hot item on the black market as far as being a sex slave. People,
Rihanna has a video. It's old now, a good at least 8 years ago, where she was in a facility and they were playing Russian roulette with her. And I know Russian roulette is one of the things that they did to us in my training because they had a regen tank, and if they killed us, we would just wake up in the tank.
yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that they're showing in these music videos that, frankly, are very obvious clues to the program, and then programs, and then there's stuff like one of the songs that they stole from me. It's like a love song, and like one of the boys from Backstreet Boys or whatever met his wife there. I think that's set up. I think they
Yeah.
placed that. They made that situation happen, right? And here's another interesting piece of information that kind of just comes from synchronicity, and maybe I was meant to know this. Um, I have a friend from Nashville, okay, um, who's just been a buddy that I grew up with, and I always remember him talking about the story about how there was this guy he grew up with, and he went into the military, and he got offered a record contract, and for a boy band, right? Because he
Yeah.
could sing and stuff like that and dance. He was into that, but he was in the army, and he decided to go the army path. He didn't sign the contract, but he did have it put in front of him. And what it said in the contract is they'd give him fake parents, a fake name, a fake life, everything fake. And that if he got seen in public with his real parents, they'd fine him for it. It was down to he had to wear blue contacts and have his hair dyed. And if he ever didn't have the contacts in, he'd get fined for it. Stuff like that was in the contract. So, yeah. And then also there's a strange connection that he ended up in the military. And I can't remember for sure if he was already in the military or it seems to me that they're connected. And with the modern research, I should ask my friend. It's been a while since we've talked, but yeah, I should ask him about that again soon. But yeah, I'll never forget that the guy had to sign a contract, and part of it was fake parents and a fake life, but they give you fame and fortune, you know. And it's like, yeah, but that's to control you. That's the MK Ultra you. That's to turn you into, you know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
the
it
way they
turns
do
you into a
it.
puppet.
Like I don't think they're necessarily maybe they've gotten to the point now where they're literally just growing them in test tubes, but I think before it was a lot of times like they're getting sold into it. Like Britney, I think she got sold into it. The Backstreet Boys, I think they maybe got sold into it. I don't think it was necessarily like they were literally born in a test tube. I mean, maybe I don't know. I wasn't there. It did seem to me like though Britney was a normal girl, and that's the thing that I'll always remember about her the most is that she was just a normal fucking girl. Like she was such
Um,
an
there was something my father said first time I got married. I was 19 and we were getting ready for the wedding, and he told me, Penny, this is important. Don't ever get involved with the FBI, the CIA, or the mafia. And that has haunted me ever since. What was he involved with that he thought I needed to know that? Did my father sell me to these programs?
That's a good question.
So, yeah. On that note, you have a YouTube and a group on Facebook. You want to talk about them?
Disclosure now with an explanation point on YouTube, on Facebook, and soon to be Spotify. I'm going to be uploading stuff to
Okay.
Spotify. I want to thank everybody who is watching this who donated to the laptop. The money hit my bank account, but I don't have a debit card right now. So I think what I'm going to do is just transfer it to my girlfriend's account and use her debit card. We'll figure it out. But either way, I got the money now. I just need to get the computer, and I'm trying to go way harder with this and started to be more of an interviewer and maybe less of like giving my testimony all the time. Not that that part's important, but I want to give people a voice and give people a place to talk. And because I am an experiencer and I'm deep in these programs, I think I'll ask questions that I don't know. It's just like I know there's a lot of people doing this, but everybody brings something unique to the table. It's going to reach out to different people that other people didn't think of, stuff like that. So it's
Mhm.
just I just decided it was time to go a little harder with it. And Fractal Weapons was the idea behind that was it was Joseph's page, and I made the YouTube base after that. And my original intention behind that was for it to be collaborative
Mhm.
for people who wanted to log into the YouTube and put something up or just rant or whatever. I wanted to be more collaborative. Now I'm hoping that we can just keep that concept moving, and eventually there will be a Fractal Weapons page again, and well, that concept will still exist. But it just wasn't the way I was running the page on, or excuse me, excuse me, the YouTube and stuff like that. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I just decided I should just stick to my guns, make a disclosure now, and then that way no one has to confuse. It's like, oh, like Ark thinks this, and Joseph started the fractal weapon, so that must mean Joe thinks it. Like, no, like we might not think the same exact thing about every little detail. Like we might disagree on little tiny things here and there. Like which 99% of the time I agree with them, but occasionally I don't. Like I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, Joe
I don't
ran
know. There's
into
some
some
stuff I don't agree with.
problems and just
Yeah, here's
basically,
something I disagree with Joe on. He says that there's no such thing as Phoenix 3. That it always they like even when he took over, they just kept it Phoenix 2.0. I think they changed it to 3. I don't agree with like I think that's the whole point of where it came from. Like Phoenix 1, there was a Phoenix 1. They didn't just call it 2.0 out of nowhere. I think that they fucked up and had to start all over again. And then 3, and but he doesn't agree with me on that. That's a tiny little detail there. Who cares? 99% of our testimony collaborates. I'm just saying like and that's why I thought maybe if I just make it disclosure now, my channel, I don't have to worry about like, oh well, Matt's been on the show, so he must agree with everything, or this person's been on the show, and it's
um,
no, we don't always agree on every little detail. But
with
fortunately, we agree
with
enough.
my show, I was on Global Enlightenment Radio Network, and people thought that Daryl was my employee, and the actual relationship was the other way around. He was the boss, and he would occasionally dump someone on me, and we would have these big fights about that person was a liar, and he would say you need the numbers, and because he was the boss I had to do it. He will be getting out of jail in September, and because I have lost the numbers, I'm considering going back on the network, but I will be pre-recording, so it won't be him screaming at everybody.
Yeah,
It's one of those walk the line things. If you want an audience, because I'm so targeted, I have to at least think about the numbers.
yeah, I'm just trying to just organically just interview the people I want and just do. I'm trying to take it all underneath my own belt and do it all. And fortunately, I think that I have. It's kind of like people are willing to help me, fortunately, right?
I'm
Which
glad.
nobody can do
I'm
anything on it.
I'm watching you be blessed, and I'm happy for you.
I appreciate that. I wish the best for you too. And like I said, you deserve to get your book out there and make the money back that you spent on this at the very least.
Well, thank you for coming, and thank you, audience, for listening. And